So tonight we're talking Dead by Dawn, and I'm delighted to be joined by writer-director David Torone. Hi David, how are you doing?
Hello. Hey.
Hello. How's things? Okay?
Yeah, all good.
Good, good. Thanks for your time tonight. Congratulations on Dead by Dawn. So for the viewers, could you just let them know, in a brief synopsis, what Dead by Dawn is about?
So it's a horror movie about theater group being summoned to a theater in the small town to work on the theater play of like cult following writer who his last play get a heart attack for like seven people in the audience, and now after a couple of years he's back with the new material. They get summoned, and they get locked in the theater, and the killer appears, and the slaughter begins.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, excuse me, sorry. So uh, I've got lucky enough to get a screener for it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. With your influences for it, was it very heavily Giallo influence? You know, you've got a lot of perspective from the killer, and as I said to you off screen, sorry, before we won't go spoiler heavy,
Yeah.
but so I'm trying to kind of tap around those. But was Giallo an influence for you?
I mean, I always loved Giallo.
Mm.
We when we promote the movie in Poland, we call it Giallo Polo, which is like a Polish version of Giallo, a new subgenre and the first of its
Oh,
kind. And obviously, it's inspired heavily by Giallo,
mm.
but it's its own little, subgenre, a little bit. It's
Yeah.
everything that I really, really love, and it's one big bag with all love that I expressed for so many movies through years, like a pulpy movies. So it's like pulp
Mm.
and giallo and B-class cinema and VHS era, like all of it. It's this in this one movie. So it's not only giallo, but it's definitely giallo inspired.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, what I thought I was coming into, I was expecting possibly just a kind of run of your mill slasher, which it definitely is not. You know, it's the brutality is dialed up certainly from what you would maybe expect from a 90s slasher. There's occult elements, there's, different parts that we can't say.
Secrets,
Um,
secrets.
Secrets, yeah, different twists. We'll go by that. um, so, in terms of as you said, you've got the Giallo influence, which definitely has its brutality. Did you feel that the gore, the violence dials up, and it certainly dials up even as the movie goes on from those early kills? Was that something that you felt kind of helped the development of the movie? You've got this, and then it escalates. I think is maybe the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, when we start working on the horror movie, I knew that I want to deliver the goods for people that love horror movies, and it was very
Mm,
important to have a practical effects. Like every single kill in the movie is done practical because it's more fun to shoot this way, and also, I don't like, for example, like a fake blood. Like you see that
mm,
it's CGI. So we wanted to have we added a little bit of CGI blood, but like every blood in the movie, it's definitely a physical version of it, and then we add on
mhm,
top of this. Because I know when I watch horror movies, this is what I want to see. I want to see those rubber heads and the stuff that
yeah,
looks almost real but kind of fake. But I feel that's the fun of it. Like you feel that it's assembled just for you. And the
mm,
movies that I appreciate have that vibe. So it was very important for me to capture that. And then the violence itself, it was important also. So it's never, it depends on the person, right? But it's never, hopefully, it's never gruesome in that like disgusting way. Hopefully,
mm,
it's always fun. I mean, as
yeah,
fun as exploding heads could be, but you know what I'm
yeah,
talking about. Like, you can make it really, really graphical, realistic, or make it like
mm,
beautiful. And I love Giallo because the violence is so violent, but so visceral. It's not just,
mm,
American slashers in a way are more direct and more realistic, arguably, right?
Mm,
It's happening for real. While Giallos are more operatic, and I love that. The music is loud and
mhm,
it's just going and going. So I think one of the differences between Giallo and slashers, because Giallo is a grandfather of American slashers,
mm,
definitely inspired the genre, is like in American slasher, the killer appears and it's like a fast kill, like, head cut. Well, in
yeah,
Italian ones, they're going and going, and I like that. I feel like that's why you're there for for the horror movie. It's the aspect of it. So I really
mm,
want to deliver the goods, and it was important part of the movie structure. Like we need a
mm,
kill every other 20 minutes or so, like 11, 13 minutes. So we are keeping the tempo for the specific horror audience. And
mhm,
yeah, so the kills were definitely important part. And it was a lot of work with them to prepare
yeah,
them and execute them. But
yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a particular throat slashing that has a lot of excess blood that just, the spray and it's very much it's kind of elongated and made that a bit more theatrical, as you said. Yeah, it works really well. Um, there is aspects of the fantastical in your movie as well. Uh, I'll use fantastical just again just to avoid kind of spoiler chat.
Yeah.
Um, was that always there, or was that something again that possibly developed as your story developed? Like for you, the process of making the movie, has it always been that sort, the way the way it was
I
seen on
mean,
screen? Sorry.
honestly, it was there from the beginning. It was even more
Mm,
crazy and
yeah.
bigger. But then, it's a small movie with a very small budget,
Hmm.
and you have to start to cut things you love to achieve what you actually can do with that limited time and
Yeah.
resources. And it was, yeah, in a way, I would love to write a sequel or something, because there are more into it, which I found more interesting, to expand that, like to make the building even more haunting and sort of
Mm,
a hero on its own. In this movie, the building is there and it's great, but also there were the version where the building have a life on its own, sort of.
okay.
And that was fantastic, but just it's hard to achieve with the limited resources. So yeah, it was
Mm,
even more crazy with some fantastical elements. I feel like it's just my natural I mean, I love ritual, I guess. And if you check my music videos or stuff I've done, like there's definitely something about it that every now and then I'm making something with extra rituals.
mm,
There is something visceral about it, like the whole,
mm,
like even Catholic Church, like the Mass is just like this, the rhythm of it, and you stand, you go on your knees, and the music and the bells. I find it very entertaining and definitely interesting from the visual point of view. So it
mm.
was, yeah, it was sort of like, and it's a debut, right? So you sort of like release all your
Yeah.
urges that you wanted to do for years and years when you prepare for the movie, and
Aye.
definitely you can feel that in the movie. It's very, I mean, there is a lot of elements to it. That I definitely wanted to do. And yeah, in the future movies, I will probably put less stuff in the movie, because I already read the reviews, and some people, it's interesting. It's always an interesting subject, like how do you balance the movie when it's too much, I like the
Mm,
cinema of excess. Like I
mhm,
like the pulp movies that are just trying to they're trying to surprise you. Like, I feel like Netflix is making everything sort of mediocre good, and it's never really bad or really good. So it never punches you. And when you watch those
yeah,
pulpy VHS tapes, you're putting it in and you're watching, it's like, oh my God, what is that? I never seen something like that, for good or for worse. And I really
yeah,
want to replicate that. So once the viewer is in the audience is in the cinema, it's sort of like, I got you, right? And I'm going to show
yeah.
you crazy stuff, for better or worse. For some people, it's too much or it's boring. For other people, it's interesting. I just the running joke was like, it's not content. Like, this is a movie. It's not a content. It's not a content.
Yeah.
And I feel like we achieved that for numerous reasons. But yeah, that was one of the goals, to make it really
Mm.
punchy. So it's
Yeah.
super good or super bad, or both.
Well, I have watched a lot of Netflix content, and there's a lot that's below, far below the middle. Like they just
Yeah, and the
churn out
worst part
some
is,
no,
it's just like everything is just okay, I guess. You're just like, oh, it's fine. Remember in 90s where you were watching trailer, and you can from two shots you can say like, oh, this is not a real movie. This is a TV movie, or like it's a shitty movie, because the image
yeah,
quality was there. And now everything looks great. Like in those trailers, every single show looks at least decent. And then you start
mm,
watching and you feel the storytelling is horrible, or dialogues, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
this is not a good show. But
yeah,
I don't like that noise of like just like content of like semi good, semi bad. No one
yeah.
knows, and I
It's
I,
kind
I
of
want to make movies that are either super bad or super good, and they're not in
yeah,
this middle of boringness.
yeah.
But
Just kind
that's the
of
goal.
they're high budget, low quality in terms of the kind of storylines and things. I think it's an issue with a lot of the Netflix stuff. But I mean, that could be a whole. We could talk about that together
Yeah,
for
yeah,
maybe
of
the next
course, of
hour.
course.
Yeah.
And I love Netflix. Like, if you want to give me money
Oh
to
yeah,
make stuff, like, obviously,
of course.
the best, right? Like, we'll make it
Yeah,
work. But
yeah,
like, overall vibe of streaming media is like that. It's just
mm,
like,
yeah. Well, I was going to maybe ask this at the end of the interview though, but it's kind of worked in a bit naturally. So this is the reason we're having this chat is because tomorrow 10 past 10 at night. Dead by Dawn is shown at Grimmfest tomorrow at the time of recording. Sorry, so it's shown the 12th of October at
yeah.
Grimmfest, and it's getting seen on the big screen. Um, so obviously, you feel that's quite an important aspect of the cinema, the movie making experience, even.
It's amazing. I love it.
Mm,
Like, we're making, I mean, I don't know, with the crew, we're making movies for the audience. Like, this is the
yeah.
most important. Like, I take it as unserious I am about the whole filmmaking. I'm super serious about not wasting a viewer's time.
Hmm.
And I want to entertain. Like, you buy a ticket, I take it very seriously. You're dedicating 88 minutes of your time, and I want to make sure that I do anything possible to deliver a good time for the person who is watching it.
Hmm.
And it's super important. So the screenings in different countries and premieres and festivals are fantastic. And every time they're asking me like, do you want to watch the movie, or are you going to wait outside? And I'm always in the room, because I love this movie, and it's
Yeah.
fun to watch it for
Yeah.
even 100 times, which is maybe stupid, high on your own supply, but it's fun to watch it with the audience. And
Mm,
I'm in the back and I'm giggling like, ha ha ha, there will be this moment. Hopefully someone will get like a jump scare, or I wonder how they're gonna react for this or this part, or if they're gonna laugh on this. And it's fantastic. It's a really special feeling. It's like a rock
mm,
concert. And we got some audiences where they were very mm, cheerful. There were,
mm.
when the murderer was coming for one of the characters, the whole crowd was like clapping into the rhythm, or like cheering him. And to feel something like that, it's
Mm,
so rewarding, because I remember watching The Room, Tommy Wiseau movie, in Los Angeles, and one of those screenings where people are just like laughing and screaming, and screaming the parts of dialogue, and throwing plastic spoons on the screen, and it's a whole thing. And part of me was like, oh, I really want that. And in some of the screenings of our movie, I was lucky to experience sort of that. And it's
mhm.
very, very rewarding. And in the
Yeah.
future, I would love to somehow make cinema that's more, yeah, like a rock concerts, whatever
Mm.
that means. So the audience is like almost encouraged to comment, or to
Yeah.
scream,
Take part.
or to say something, because I love
Yeah.
this experience of watching movie with your friends, and everyone is commenting and like making
Mm.
jokes, and I feel like this movie is sort of designed to be that.
Mhm.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully someone will watch it before Halloween with
Yeah.
some alcohol and I don't know, weed, and just having fun and like, oh, this is funny, and talking through each other. That's my dream come true for this movie, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. It's a an audience kind of interaction thing that they have it over in the US. You know that where you see clips, and the biggest one that stands out to me being a Marvel geek is the whole portals thing in Endgame. I don't know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
familiar with that, and everyone just screaming and shouting at the TV, at the screen. But in the UK, certainly we're a little bit more subdued. Is that the same in kind of mainland Europe as well? You watch the movie and then you maybe react after.
It depends on the country and on the movie, definitely.
Mm,
It depends on the crowd, but I feel like when you get the crowd that this specific movie is for, I feel like there is a chance they will react that way because
mm,
they will recognize what kind of movie it is. It happened, right? So it can happen, but I feel it's just like a specific crowd for like
yeah,
cool festivals, or it's not. I think it's not country oriented. It's just you see those people and you're like, oh, this is my crowd. Like I see the faces and the long hair
yeah,
and the horror fans, and it's like this is for
mm,
them.
yeah,
But yeah, I would love to have more of like audience that's very loud.
yeah,
It's
no,
very
yeah,
rewarding for the creators.
mhm,
That I can say
yeah.
for sure.
And are you attending Grimfest? Or are you
Unfortunately, no. It's
no?
just like we no. I wish, but the stars didn't align. And
Mm,
yeah, I love to be with the audience in different countries in the room. It's
yeah,
always so much fun. So unfortunately, I cannot be there. But spiritually, I'm always trying to at least at that time sit in my apartment and just like, okay, they're watching
yeah,
it. Let's
yeah,
see. it's
yeah,
it's it's fun to like there is something very moving for people from different countries to watch your movie. It's just
mm,
you're telling the little story, and people on the other side of the world or in the dark room watching your story. There is something very, I don't know, very beautiful about it,
mm,
especially with cinema sort of, dying and blah blah blah. So
yeah,
yeah, it's moving for
yeah.
for me as a creator.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And we've done a few interviews for Grimfest, and I've always asked that question: how you feel about people being able to experience your movie in the cinema? Because content, as you said, it's so throwaway. Like you can be sitting in your living room watching something, and there's so many distractions. You go and make yourself a drink, you go and make yourself something to eat, you get your phone out while it's on the telly in front of you. But in the cinema, you don't have that. You get that, as you said, the dark room, the one focus. If someone gets their phone out, they should be thrown out, so that's fine. Like,
Yeah,
and
it's
having that,
it's
yeah,
such a shame that we're going to, for whatever reasons, it's also another conversation that could go for an hour, why cinemas are
yeah,
dying,
100%.
and
Yeah,
what to do. Everyone have a solution.
yeah,
But it's definitely, it's a shame that we're, for now at least, it's just like waving goodbye,
mm,
it's an expensive thing to do, right? It's a big room and you need a lot of seats and the air condition, and it's just, so once they're gonna die, they're not going to come back that easily. And there is something magical sitting with strangers and experiencing, like hypnotizing yourself with all 100 other people for this
mm,
story in that dark room. And there is something special about it, and that full
mm,
focus and that big screen and that sound, it allows you to really be there and experience. And with more delicate movies, it's so hard to watch them at home because you have to,
mm,
like those long going cinema, and it's so hard to watch them at home. Like you're sitting
yeah,
there, there is your phone, you get something to eat, and you're like, oh, this is boring. You, with one press of a finger, you can snap another channel or another movie, and it's really hard to grab the audience to watch something more, less poppy, more,
Mm, yeah,
like more
engaging.
atmosphere, and yeah, and like just like delicate. Everything have to
Yeah,
be bang, bang, bang. I love bold stuff, but I recognize that you go to cinema and you can go for like a slow cinema, and it's
mm,
beautiful. And yeah, hopefully the cinemas will survive one way or another. Horror movies are helping, right? Like horror
yeah,
movies are bringing
100%.
people to theaters
Yeah,
because horror fans, they know their shit, they know what's good, and it's fun to go with friends to the
yeah,
cinema.
mhm,
But every other genre, not so colorful. And
mm.
yeah, how do we convince the young generation to go to cinema also, right? um
Yeah, it's a hard thing. I think, especially with horror and I think horror and comedy are the two genres that are best experienced with a crowd. You know, you can
Definitely.
say like maybe the last Mission Impossible movie was. It was maybe best to see it on the big screen for spectacle, but you could
Yeah,
be your own. You could be on your own in the cinema watching that,
yeah,
and you would still
true.
get the spectacle. But horror and comedy, for me, are just they need to be experienced with a
Yeah.
crowd, and
Oh yeah.
it's very different. The different
Yeah,
elements, isn't it?
for sure. There is definitely something, yeah, in that experience. I mean, pheromones, I don't know, like you're with other people.
Yeah,
And sometimes the most funny part is like some guy laughing at wrong moments, and that
yeah,
makes a movie, right? And
mm,
yeah, yeah, we miss that. But I mean, we don't want to move our asses from our TVs and phones, and it's hard to
yeah,
go to drive to cinema, I guess, and pay $10 for a screening.
mm,
But yeah, hopefully everything will be fine. We'll deliver more interesting movies and we'll make it
yeah,
work, because it's definitely something special, and
yeah,
it will be a shame to lost it fully. So it's just on
yeah,
festivals or something. But maybe that's the future. Maybe you go to cinema only on festivals, and during the year you're just watching movies on TV, and
yeah,
that's it. I don't know. Hopefully
yeah.
not, though.
Hopefully, yeah. And just kind of a last question before I let you go. Obviously, this is uh, you yourself are from Poland. We've myself, I've conducted a few interviews with different countries from Eastern Europe that have been developing a lot more horror over the past few years. Are you seeing a change in the way that filmmakers from the kind of Eastern Europe are developing horror? Are you noticing anything? And do you feel that that's maybe a place where horror fans can start to look a bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, just by nature of things, when other countries are making their own versions of well-known genre, it
Mm,
definitely delivers something at least slightly different, or very different.
mhm.
And whole Giallo started as a Italians trying to make a Hitchcock movies, and
Okay.
I guess things get out of hand, because they're fully different. But that was the starting point, and I believe that if Polish people or Slovakian or whatever people from this part of the world are starting making horror movies, there definitely will be with different sensibilities.
Yeah.
But saying that, I feel like Polish horror, for example, it's a very small genre for now. We have this
Mm,
panel like a month ago, and there were like four people on the stage, and someone make a joke that if the bomb will I mean, if there will be a bomb in the room, someone will kill all the horror filmmakers in Polish history, present and past, because there was like an old guy who made horrors 50 years ago,
yeah.
and younger guy, me, and some other, and like that's it for now.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
The minds are open. Before, it was no one treated seriously. It was like, stupid genre
Mm,
movie. It's a horror. No one, everyone is rolling their eyes because it's not a serious cinema. But
mm,
because of the last couple years and those horrors that are more interesting visually and narratively, I feel like the vibe is changing, but it's still a hard fight. Like every time you
Mm.
have to convince people to make a horror movie, because they're like, let's make a serious drama. And yeah, European cinema love to be serious, and it's okay. But I feel like we need some pulp. And with
Yeah.
Polish cinema, it's just like we never really created pulp because
Mm.
for political reasons, and like technology versus politics and being a
Yeah.
communist country than not. So we never really we were the biggest VHS market in Europe or in the world at certain point. Crazy, but
Mm.
it never went to create original movies to have like this whole pulpy scene. And I feel like now we're sort of making homework. We're creating horror movies to start to put the grounding, and hopefully in the future we can build on top of that something more
Mm.
European, more Polish. Like my next movie, I feel it builds on this first movie, but it's way more Slavic and way more European, whatever that means,
Mm.
and definitely way more
Yeah.
Polish in the
Okay.
vibe and atmosphere. So yeah, hopefully for horror fans, you can start, go for Polish horrors, for Eastern European or Central Europe horrors, because there is a new, like a little wave coming. And if you're
Mm.
bored with other stuff, maybe we can deliver and give you something more special, or like different at least,
Yeah.
from all the horrors of the world. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's my goal. Sort of, I'm trying to build a little niche here and build this little genre.
Yeah.
We'll see. You know,
Yeah. Perfect. David, well, good luck with the rest of Dead by Dawn.
thank you.
If if whenever your next project's coming up, please keep in contact with us. And again, thanks very
Definitely.
much for your time tonight.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, and yeah, thank you for watching the movie. And yeah, bye.